Hello, everyone, and welcome to our town hall meeting. I'm very excited to see those of you who have joined us today. We are trying a new format for people to register for our meeting, and I hope this works better and easier for you. Today's speaker is Elexa Waugh. She is the clinical manager and occupational therapist with Safe at Home Home Care Partners. Elexa will tell us first about their programs, and then she will talk about safety tips and advice on what we need to do to make our homes and ourselves safer at home. As most of us on this call have fallen, have tripped inside our homes. Elexa, the mic is yours.
Thanks so much, Tara. Thanks for having me. And thank you everybody for being here today. I appreciate you. And let me just get I made a PowerPoint that I'll share here. All right. So as Tara stated, I work for the Safe at Home program here in DC. This is a program that's funded by the Department of Aging here in Washington, DC. And we have a number of different components of our program, but our program is all focused on decreasing our risk of falls, or fall risk mitigation. Unfortunately, falls happen, gravity exists, and we trip on things. And so falls can happen. But we know that there's so much that we're able to do to decrease our risk of falls. And that's really important for us to take those opportunities we can to decrease the risk and have the likelihood of falls decrease. We know that about 1 in 4 people over the age of 65 fall every year, which kind of leads to about 1 person over the age of 65 falling every second of every day. We are trying to do all we can to decrease falls, and that's the good news, is that there's so much we are able to do, but falls can have catastrophic consequences, and we're trying to decrease the incidence of falls and the severity of falls. So we run a number of different programs that address different components of this, and so I'm going to integrate a little bit of what Tara was talking about in my conversation about our programming, as well as there will be some at the end too about other things you can do yourself now. So again, the program's called Safe at Home. And so our program is 100% funded by the Department of Aging here in DC. So it is only available for DC residents at this time. There are some other programs in Maryland and Virginia that do some modifications, but our program is only for DC residents. Primarily, it is administered by Home Care Partners, which is the group that I work for. And as I said, our primary goal is to decrease the risk of falls, specifically for older adults and for people with disabilities. And so the Safe at Home 1.0 program is our premier program, or is the program that started it all. It's been in existence for about 10 years right now. It's a very popular program, and we do have a little bit of a wait list, which I'll get into, but we do home modifications through this program. So in order to qualify for the program, so this is the qualifications for Safe at Home 1.0. In order to qualify for the program, as I said, you have to be a Washington, D.C. resident. You have to be either age 60 or over, or 18 plus, 18 or over, 18 to 59, with a disability, with a documented disability. And so we do work with a lot of adults who are living at home and who might need some modifications that we're able to do within our scope of our work to be able to make the home a little bit safer, and if we're able to, a little more accessible. There is an income requirement. The annual income for just a single person applying for the program is $99,600 for an individual. Or if it's a married couple that's applying, the income limit is $113,850 for a married couple. So the income requirement is fairly high. to be able to qualify for the program. So those are the only needs that you have to meet for qualifying for the program. So if you're a DC resident over the age of 60, and with, we do not cover Northern Virginia, only a DC program. I would recommend, if you're trying to look into information about this kind of work in Northern Virginia, there's a group called the Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance. And sorry, I was answering a question in the chat. If nobody saw it, they were asking if we covered Northern Virginia. There's a group called the Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance that does a lot of work in Northern Virginia. So I would recommend looking them up if you are in Northern Virginia. They don't provide this program, but they have a lot of resources that might be useful though. So if you meet these qualifications of being a DC resident, age 60 or over, or 18 plus with a disability, and the income level as well. Somebody else asked if the program is in Baltimore City. Again, this is just a DC program. There used to be a program called Capable in Baltimore that is not quite as widespread anymore.
Alexa, sorry, we can take the questions after the presentation maybe, so
Sure.
you didn't get the cutoff. I mean, they can ask the questions and you can answer after the presentation. That would be great. Okay, thanks.
So if you meet these qualifications, you can apply for the Safe at Home program here in DC. And I'm going to run through kind of what we offer and how that looks. So what Safe at Home does offer is we offer modifications that may or may not include grab bars, like in the bathroom, handrails on stairs and things like that, inside and outside. Some lighting options, stair lifts, the lifts that can take you up and down the stairs, shower chairs, toilet risers, and a whole lot more as well that we can't go over right now. The way this works is we're all occupational therapists. So we're all occupational therapists by trade. And then we have additional training in home modifications. None of us are low vision specialists, but we do have that as part of our training as occupational therapists though. So we're not specialists, but we do have some training through as being occupational therapists. So an occupational therapist will come to your home and assess your home and you to see what we want to try and install in the house. And on the right-hand side here, there's a picture of a bathroom that we've done some work on. It has a bathtub in it, and it has 2 grab bars and a handheld shower head. So a shower head that has a long hose that comes down, with a shower chair where somebody can sit down to take a shower and be able to take a whole shower in a seated position. There's also a toilet riser, which rises the height of the toilet just at the toilet seat level by 3 inches and provides some handles there. So those are just a couple of modifications. I'm going to show you all more as well, but this is a bathroom that we've done some modifications through. I'll just give a second to be able to check that out. And some of our modifications are a little more simple. Some are a little bit more complicated. It all depends on the person and the home that we're looking at. All right, so like I just said, the modifications vary significantly based on you and the structure of your home. So I might go see person A and then go see their neighbor, person B, the next day, and they're going to have completely different modifications because the things that are going on with them on their body or the way they use their space or their thoughts is different, as well as the home setup and the structure of the home is also different. So the occupational therapist will work with you to make sure that you're getting what you want, as long as it's safe, and that we're making sure we're addressing the highest needs that you've prioritized as well as looking at the places where we know that falls happen the most frequently, which are in the bathroom and on the stairs. After we've done our assessment, we write up a scope of work, and then it goes out to a contractor who comes to install all the modifications in the house for you. They're licensed. We work with about 8 contractors who've worked with us for quite a long time, who know exactly what they're doing. They also have certifications in home modifications as well. And so they will come and install whatever modifications that we've selected along with you to make sure that your home is as safe as possible. All right, we have several pictures here. So one of the first things I wanted to mention to you was that we do exterior stair lifts if needed. So the picture on the far left is an outside stair lift. So a lift where you can sit on it from the bottom or the top of the stairs and ride up the length of the stairs. We do provide these. They are quite pricey and they take a lot of the budget, but it does provide a way in and out of the house for somebody who might not be able to climb the stairs as easily or be able to utilize the stairs. In this picture, if you're able to make it out, there is a wooden box that has been constructed at the front door. That is for somebody if they're using a wheelchair to have it or a walker to be able to have what we call a 0-step entry and be able to come straight into the home. And this is useful for everybody a little bit because then we're not worrying about that threshold into the home. And so especially if we're doing a ramp or a stair lift, we oftentimes build that so there's a direct access into the home. Additionally, in these pictures, the one on the far right is of an aluminum ramp that we have built. So we are able to do ramps in DC. Sometimes the yards aren't that large and we're not able to fit a ramp in there, but we are able to do ramps. Again, lots of times we build a platform to make it so it goes straight into the home and there's not a threshold to have to get over top of. But that far right picture does show an aluminum ramp that goes up. Now that house has about 4 steps and requires a full yard of ramp. So really for safety, we want to make sure we have a very long ramp. Lots of times we see people utilize kind of shorter ramps over very steep stairs, and that can increase our risk of injury because it's too steep. And so what happens sometimes is somebody falls because they're using too steep of a ramp, either with a walker or without an assistive device or in a wheelchair. So we're very careful to make sure that we're getting a ramp with a long length to it to make sure we're offering safe access into the house. And our middle picture here is a picture of iron railing. So we do provide exterior iron railing. We can install in the walls or into the concrete or the grass, wherever the situation might be. And obviously we use a lot of railing on our stairs. We know there's research out there that having railing on both sides of your stairs, no matter who you are or what's going on, is a great thing to have to be able to provide stability going up and down the stairs and having support on both sides of your body. So these are some of our outside modifications that we do. And so the middle picture shows iron railing on the left-hand side that's mounted into the brick of the house, and the railing on the right-hand side, which is mounted directly into the concrete. And we do work with iron fabricators who have been doing this for a long time. So we know that these are really stable modifications that will last for a long time. So those are some of our outside modifications. Again, the handrails inside. So the left picture is showing handrails on stairs, on interior stairs. So in this particular person's house, they have about 13 stairs probably going up to a landing and then a curve with an additional like 3 or 4 stairs at the top, which is very common in DC homes. So in this left picture, there was no railing on the left before we came into the house. We installed railing going the entire way up the stairs on the left-hand side. That way, when this particular client was using it, if she was able to, she could walk in the middle and hold on to both sides, or she had something on either side of the stairs to be able to hold on to if she was going closer to one side or the other. We all kind of have one stronger side than the other. And if we're carrying things or any of that kind of stuff, it's good for us to have handrails on both sides of the stairs. In the right picture, we have an interior stair lift. So again, this is the lift you can sit on from the bottom or the top, and you can ride up or down the stairs. These are our battery operated stair lifts. They do plug in to get charged to the battery, but they are battery operated devices for the most part. And again, you can get on at the bottom and ride up to the top, and no need to climb the stairs. We also use this a lot for folks to be able to put their stuff on. So maybe to put their laundry on, or the bottles of water if they keep that upstairs, whatever it is. There's a remote control, so you can use it a little bit like a dolly if you need to as well for carrying heavy things up and down the stairs. And so that picture on the right is of a stair lift. They're usually gray and white, and they have seats and arms and footrest on them all fold up. there's a track that mounts into the stair itself, and then you can ride up that. If you're walking past it, like I said, the footrest, the seat, and the arms all fold up out of the way so you can walk past it. And the track goes into the stair itself. A lot of people think that these go into the wall. They go into the stairs. So that is how it's mounted, and it's very secure. And there are different sized ones for different sized people, and depending on somebody's needs. We've done a lot of these for folks with low vision. It just takes a little extra training, and lots of people have used these very successfully. I wanted to show another picture of a bathroom. So this is another picture of a bathroom. In this picture, that's a bathtub again, and I'm going to start with the bathtub. So this is a bathtub. We are not able to do walk-in showers within the budget of our program. What we do offer is something called a tub cut. So this is called a tub cut. And what it is the bathtub, basically they take kind of a chomp out of the side of the tub, and it brings the wall of the tub down, usually by about 8 to 10 inches, to make it a little bit more like a step-in shower. It no longer can be used as a bathtub then. It is kind of like a walk-in shower, but it makes the bathtub a little bit more accessible. So we do these quite frequently. It just makes it easier to step into the tub if needed. So that's a regular bathtub that has what's called a tub cut in it. And they cut it out with a saw, and then they sand it down and put a sleeve over top of it. And that makes it a little more accessible. Also in this picture, we see another one of these shower chairs. We have, I don't know, 50 different kinds of shower chairs that either go out over the edge, sit inside of the tub. It really depends on the person and how they're using, how much help they might have, how they're using their bathroom for how we select what chair to use. But this is a common one that we use that's in this picture. It is height adjustable and has some handles and a back, which is something you should always have in a shower chair, having a back on it. Lots of people slide off the back of their shower chairs. Additionally, in this picture, we have several grab bars. We have your kind of typical grab bars that you probably are more familiar with, that are just kind of long, straight grab bars. We use that often at the entrances of the tub. So on either end of the tub, right where the tub wall is or where the shower lip is, to be able to hold on to as you step into the bathtub. Or if you're doing a seated transfer, holding on as you do a seated transfer. There's also another grab bar going horizontally across the back wall. This is another modification that's really important in the shower. This is something to hold on to be able to pull into the shower a little bit more if needed. Also to be able to utilize if you're standing up and down in the shower, depending on if you're using a shower chair. If you're standing in the shower, it gives you something to hold on to as you're washing up or washing your hair, anything like that. This also has a handheld shower with a hose that comes down to be able to assist with using like kind of a paddle of the shower to be able to rinse off with. There are a couple specialty grab bars in here as well. There's 2 ones in the corner of either shower that you can put shampoo and soap and body wash into. So those are dual purpose. They are a grab bar, but you can also put things into them. So those are in this picture located in each corner of the shower. And these specific grab bars that are here are, some of them are rated for 250 pounds and some are up to 500 pounds. And then the last 2 specialty grab bars that are in here, there's one over top of the toilet that is sort of like the corner soap dish grab bar, but it's a straight version of it that goes above the toilet. And that is something that you can put stuff into, but again, it's also a grab bar to be able to hold on to. I utilize this a lot by a sink so that when you're washing your face or brushing your teeth, things like that, you have something to grab onto to help keep you stable as well. And then there's a towel rack grab bar on the left-hand side that you might not be able to see quite as well. It replaced a regular towel rack. What we see very frequently, and I'm guilty of it myself, is us balancing ourselves on our towel racks. And this one will not pull out of the wall if we put too much weight on it. So this is a kind of a pretty looking towel rack, but it's also a grab bar to be able to hold on to. And then the last thing in this picture, and we'll move on, is handles for the toilet. So it's not a riser for the toilet. It is just handles. So it keeps the toilet at whatever height your toilet already is. And these handles go underneath of the toilet seat, which give you just enough boost to be able to stand up, and you might not need a toilet riser. They're very stable because they bolt underneath of the toilet seat. They flip up and down so you can move them if you don't want them in your way. And the other thing I find I really like with them is a lot of people tell us they fall when they think they're about to sit on the toilet, and they've misjudged where the toilet seat is itself, and they kind of sit on the side of the toilet and fall off the edge. And so by having handles on the toilet, that helps make sure that your bottom is actually going to land where it is supposed to. So that is a common bathroom setup. I did want to just add in for our presentation today that we do cover some lights. We don't do extensive lighting, but we know that lighting is really important to decrease risk of falls. And so I did want to show a couple of the lights that we have. This one on the left is actually a video. So this is a motion censored light. So it's a battery operated light. The video shows somebody walking close to it, and then the light turns on as they go past. It's motion censored, battery operated with AAA batteries. It sticks to the wall with stickers, and it goes off. I've used this for a lot of folks who have low vision who are still able to kind of see some light though, at corners or at edges, and they have felt like it's really helpful for them to know when they're turning a corner, if they're able to see light like that, it shows them kind of where they are in space a little bit. So I've used that a lot for folks who might have low vision in their home to help navigate the space a little easier. The picture in the top right-hand corner is an exterior light. I just wanted to show we do these kind of floodlights around stairs outside sometimes. So this picture is of a floodlight, one of those lights that has two large kind of bucket-shaped lights that you can point in different directions. And then we do install lights, especially on like basement stairs, closets, places that might be kind of dark, that could pose a risk. So we do install lights at sometimes. They're not fancy lights. They're very practical lights, but we do lighting as part of our program. So the bottom right picture shows a flat LED light. We try and use lights that are LED so that they have a long lifespan without having to change the light bulb out. So this is an example of one of our lights that we installed at a basement. And so it's a kind of a flat light that goes up against the wall and lights up the basement stairs a little better. Our program also offers some mobility devices. We try to provide things that insurance does not cover. So on the left here, we have a client of ours who is using a pair of walking sticks. These are a new product we started carrying. They are great for being able to promote safe walking in the community. They're designed by an occupational therapist. They're called activator poles. And you walk with them kind of like hiking sticks, but they help support your lower body a little bit by pushing through your upper body. So it promotes upright posture, as well as utilizing your upper body for mobility as well. So these activator poles on the left are something new that we just carried. They look like hiking sticks. So when she's walking with it, she's going to put her left foot out, right pole out, and vice versa. And it provides some stability. You know, they've done a lot of research with these. Anecdotally, I will say I got them for my own grandmother, and she went from just being around her home to walking over a mile a day now. So it's great. And I'll get into it a little bit later, but we know that activity levels are one of the biggest things that we can do. If we increase them, are one of the biggest things that we can do to decrease our risk of falls, is staying very active. And then I just put in this picture on the right. It is of a stool. It's called a kitchen perch stool. So it's a stool inside of a kitchen. The seat goes to just below counter height. So this is a white stool with 4 legs to it. It has handles on both sides and a back. And the idea of this stool is that you can sit at counter height to be able to wash your dishes or prepare anything you need to in the kitchen rather than having to stand. And so I just wanted to provide we do more than this, but just a few examples of some other modifications we do in the home as well. So again, if you are a DC resident, you're going to have to call the Department of Aging. I'll give you that number in just a second as well, to apply for the program. You'll get referred either to home care partners who I work with, or Rebuilding Together does a few jobs as well. And then you'll be asked to confirm your residency, your income, and your age or disability status as well. As soon as you've done that, you'll get put into the queue. And then once your turn on the queue has come up, you'll have your assessment with the occupational therapist, where you'll create the scope of work with them at your house. Then the modifications and initial training will happen with the contractor. And then the occupational therapist will schedule a final assessment with you too, to make sure everything's working okay for you before the case is closed. So if you want to, and I'm sure Tara will have this information as well for you again, if you are interested in this free program, which I would take advantage of if you are a DC resident, contact the Department of Aging and Community Living. The number's 202-724-5626. Again, 202-724-5626. All right, and then I want to tell you about our second set of programs. So our second set of programs is called the Safe at Home 2.0 program. And this is a program where we primarily do classes to decrease falls. They're evidence-based classes, so I'll tell you more about them in just a second. But I wanted to point out before we got too far into this that the qualifications to participate in this program are that you have to be 60 years or older. There's no referral required, and you don't have to do the modifications in order to take these classes. And there is no income requirement. So this is open to any DC resident over the age of 60. Our classes are offered virtually online through Zoom, just like this. And we have had folks come through with lower vision. There are different resources that we're able to provide as well to make things more accessible, to make the classes more accessible. And I'll get a little into what the classes are like. If tech assistance is required, we can help a little bit, but somebody does have to have their own device. So again, this program I'm about to talk to you about is offering classes to anybody over the age of 60 who is a DC resident. So as I said, these classes, these virtual classes are held on Zoom, like we are right now. For the first set of classes, there are 9 classes total. They're 2 times a week for 4.5 weeks. Each class is 2 hours long with a 10-minute break halfway through. So this is called Matter of Balance. It's a class that was designed in the 90s, and it has been studied to decrease risk of falls. The National Council of Aging just came out with new research 2 weeks ago that said that these classes can decrease the incidence of falls by over 50%. So that's pretty significant, that participation in these classes can decrease your risk of falling by over 50%. So when we do these classes, one of our employees, either myself or one of my colleagues, will come out to do your assessment before and after the classes. And this first class, this Matter of Balance class, has seated exercises in 6 of the 9 classes. We have a little session about vision and medication, about how the impact of those things on falls. And then the class is structured about different kinds of things that impact your risk of falls. So these are classes that are led by coaches who took the classes themselves and then became coaches because they were so inspired by it. So they are the coaches, and then we also assist with the classes. So as I said, that first class is called a Matter of Balance. For our program, after you've taken Matter of Balance, you can take Stay Active and Independent for Life. This is another evidence-based class. This class has been studied to be effective. This is a more exercise-based class. So Matter of Balance is a little bit more of a cognitive class to think about the things that might be impacting your risk of falls with a little bit of exercise. Stay Active and Independent for Life is a class that's mostly exercise with just a little bit of conversation part. For our program, we do everything seated. Since we're doing it online, we want to make sure people are safe. But we have had incredible feedback of people really having life-changing impact from these classes. So we've had people say that they've lost a lot of weight from it. We've had people go, one of the men who I worked with, he was almost in bed all the time Now he's being able to travel again and do all kinds of things. That consistent activity has changed their lives, and they've testified to this, and we know it because it's been studied for so long too. And I just think this is so important to just also emphasize again, we know that taking these classes can decrease your incidence of falls by 50%, which is tremendously huge. So if you do want to register for these classes, you can call my colleague Jose at 202-559-9856. And again, these are our Safe at Home 2.0 classes, and they're 202-559-9856. And these classes, as I said, we talk about different things that can decrease your risk of falls and provide spaces to be able to take action on that, as well as increasing activity level, which is a very big predictor for decreasing your risk of falls. And I just wanted to share a picture of one of our classes because people were worried that we wouldn't connect during our classes. So this is a picture of how many people are there? 14 people in one of our classes, a matter of balance class. 2 of the coaches are there, and we do these on Zoom, and our classes get really close to one another. One of the classes goes to go meet at Denny's now afterwards in person. There's a lot of connection to be made here too. And we know that social engagement is a big determinant of longevity, but also of increased activity and for our safety as well. So this kind of social component in a class like this, the class is capped at 12 people. So it's, there's 2 coaches in this picture. That's why there's 14. But it really gives an opportunity to connect well. So again, if you're interested in taking those classes, our October class is already going right now. So if you are interested, our November class starts in, I think, 3 weeks. So you can call my colleague Jose at 202-559-9856. Okay, so those are our programs that I tried to kind of weave some kind of tips into as well, or things to consider. I wanted to talk a little bit about reduction of risk and what you can do, today to think about reducing your risk. So the number one thing you can do is being aware of your risk. And I'm going to show you a tool in just a second you can use, but being aware of what your risk level is. So I'm going to show a tool on another slide in just a minute, but being aware of your risk is very important. Staying active and finding activities that keep you social. I just mentioned that in our classes, but we know that having that high activity level and social interaction is a big predictor for our health and for our safety. We offer, I'm going to go into it in a little while, but we offer fall recovery in services virtually. Last year we offered, I think we offered 4 online, and then we offered 15 in person. We might scale that back a little bit this year, but we do offer classes where we talk a little bit about how to fall and how to protect yourself if you do fall, and how to get back up if you do fall. I also will share a flyer in a few minutes for GW Outpatient Clinic, offers a specific section just for falls prevention and fall recovery. So that is something that you could ask your primary care physician for a prescription for, and they can refer you to GW's fall clinic to be able to go, and they'll work with your insurance. I can't say exactly how much would be covered, but they do work with insurance there. And I'll give you that number in here in a few minutes. Wearing good shoes all of the time. So making sure you have shoes with kind of a wide toe that allows your feet to spread out. And I'll have a slide on this as well. It has good traction on the bottom, and a closed heel is important. So having good footwear, I think we all know that, but we're guilty of not doing it all the time though. So we have a lot of clients who have a pair of shoes that they keep just inside their house for inside wear, but that is closed-toed and kind of more athletic shoe. One of the biggest things that people in our classes say is that they've learned to actually slow down and to be aware of what's around them. So I think this is something I think we all know that we need to slow down, but we don't institute it all the time for ourselves. This is something I hear folks in our classes talking about a lot, that they learn to slow down and to be really aware of their surroundings through time with the classes, and it makes a big difference. Getting environmental modifications like handrails and grab bars. is really important. I think we all should have this. There's no reason that we need to delay in having it. It doesn't make us become dependent on it. It allows us to take that preventative action to decrease our risk of falls, especially in the bathroom where we know that there's a high risk of falling. There have been studies that if you have an occupational therapist assess and are involved in part of your team for your environmental modifications, that it increases the efficacy and the use of the product. So having an occupational therapist is going to make it be probably better placement for you, and to make sure that it's in a place that you're able to use it effectively. So getting those modifications is important. Again, this is offered for free through our program, Safe at Home here in DC. If you do end up having to private pay for it, grab bars typically will cost maybe a little over $100, between $50 and $100, depends on kind of what you want. They make really fancy ones that are even way, way more expensive. And then you do have to pay for the installation, and that'll vary by depending on the person who's installing. But really getting somebody who knows what they're doing and making sure it's stable is very important. And then, as we know, getting our medications and our vision checked frequently. I think everybody here is on top of working with professionals about their vision. Our medications, we know that if we're on more than 4 medications, we are at increased risk of falls. And so there's a number of reasons that can be, but these kinds of things can impact impact one another that can increase our risk of falls. And lots of the medications we take themselves can have side effects that can put us at risk of falls as well. So getting our medications checked either by our pharmacist or by a physician is really important. I'm going to show a tool that will help with that as well. Okay, so this is the tool I mentioned before about knowing about our awareness. So this is a screenshot of a questionnaire that was provided by the CDC, by the STEADY program. And so these are questions such as, and I'm just going to read through the questions. I have fallen in the past year. I use or have been advised to use a cane or a walker to get around safely. Sometimes I feel unsteady when I am walking. I steady myself by holding on to furniture when walking at home. I'm worried about falling. I need to push with my hands to stand up from a chair. These are some of the quiz questions. And so again, these were developed by the CDC. They have a program called the STEADY program, and this is all about decreasing risk of falls. So this questionnaire, if you score 4 or more points on this questionnaire, you are at higher risk of falls. And I find this tool to be really helpful for folks to fill out and take to their doctor. And if you take it to your doctor, then it gives you a way to have a conversation to start talking about your risk of falls in a really substantive way, and to be able to have examples of things that you might be facing that might be increasing your risk of falls. So this is called the STEADY, STEADI. And so that's from the CDC, and it is available. I don't think they have a large print one, but I can look for that if we need to. But this is a great tool for being able to start a conversation about fall risk reduction. This next handout is from Move Your Way, which came from the Department of Health as well here in the States. And this is talking about the importance of our mobility. And so they're talking about making sure you have aerobic activity, strength, and balance. A lot of people talk to me about that they walk for their exercise, which is great, and walking is really, really important. But we also know that strength training and balance training are really important, especially as we get older. They're always important, but really, really important as we get older. So working on doing balance activities a couple times a week, and doing muscle strengthening as well. And we know that strengthening activities like lifting weights and that sort of work also has effects on our bones and on our cardiovascular health as well. So that strength training and aerobic activity and balance work is all associated, or is all covered in our classes that we offer. Again, we do our seated, but there's still a balance component to it that we explore. So this handout is just going over the importance of having aerobic activity, strength, and balance activities.
Well, that's a total waste.
The next handout is for footwear. So this is talking about, as we talked about already, about having wide toe. So having a toe box in the front that allows your feet to spread. A lot of our shoes are tight in the front, and when our toes can't spread out, it impacts our ability to be able to walk safely. These are also other examples talking about having traction at the bottom and having a closed heel at the back. So the pictures that are here on the right are about having closed heel in the back, having kind of a wide toe at the front and good traction on the bottom. So having good footwear. This is called a file of life. So everybody who's taken our classes or has gotten the assessment at home, we provide one of these. So this picture is of a red envelope on the right-hand side with a white paper folded handout kind of thing on the inside. And on the inside, it has emergency contacts, medical data, medical conditions, medications and allergies, and insurance information. So the way this works is you take the paper tri-fold handout and you fold it up and put it inside of a red plastic envelope. The version that's in this picture is a wallet-sized one. They also make a larger size one that has a magnet on it and can go on your refrigerator. I keep mine by my front door. So if you ever have a loss of consciousness or anything happens like that, you can have this accessible. New York Times wrote this up, I don't know, maybe a few months ago. EMTs say this saves people's lives because they're not searching for all this information if they ever have to get called. If you have this on you, if you're out in the community, you know you have all your information on you in the unfortunate circumstance that you would have an emergency and need to go to the hospital. The hospitals as well say that this is so helpful to have all of this information. If somebody has to get admitted to the hospital, they have everything on hand. So again, this is called the File of Life. Montgomery County, Maryland offers it on one of their websites. We offer it to all of our participants that come through our programs as well.
Sorry, Alexa,
Yes.
if you could, because we just need some time for questions and answers. I'm sure some people have questions. So I don't know how much longer, how many more slides do you have?
2 more slides, I think.
Okay, great.
So additionally, that File of Life is provided at some of our events. So we just had Falls Prevention Awareness Week 3 weeks ago. We had 730 participants came to it. We did things there like screenings like blood pressure, vision, medication screenings. We learned how to get up from a fall if a fall should occur, some home safety modification things like that. So highly recommend keeping an eye out for our events. That Falls Prevention Awareness Week is an annual event, so we will have that again next September. So just keep it in the back of your mind that we will have one of those events next September. And AARP this year did provide the large File of Life to everyone as well. As I mentioned, we do those online fall recovery sessions. Last year we did 3 with GW Hospital. We also had other programming. We had like a movie premiere with a panel of specialists talking as well. And so we do most of those things virtually. And the best way to stay on top of that is to go to our events website, which again, I can put into the chat, or if Tara is able to provide it to you later. Our company is called Home Care Partners. And so the best website to go to keep on top of those events is homecarepartners.org/events. And then that's where we put all of our events that are coming up. And as I said, a lot of them are virtual and are very easily accessible then at home. I mentioned the Falls Clinic at GW Outpatient, their program for falls specifically. And so they would take a look at all kinds of things that could put you at risk of falls and practice getting back up, all of that kind of thing. Their number is 202-715-5655. Again, 202-715-5655. That's it. And again, my name is Elexa Waugh-Quasebarth. I'm with Safe at Home program. And if anybody needs to reach out to me, my contact information is here, but Tara can also put you in touch with me if need be, I believe.
Of course. Thank you very much, Alexa. And the session is being recorded and you will get the recording in a couple of days, and it will be on our YouTube channel as well. Alexa, do you know of any similar programs in Northern Virginia and Maryland? Like, I know Rebuilding Together work in Northern Virginia and Maryland to do home modifications. And their website is rebuildingtogether.org if anyone is interested in that. I don't know what the qualifications are, but you can check their website. Any other programs that you know of
Sure.
in the States?
Yeah, so Rebuilding Together's, they work with us with this program here in DC. This program is specific to DC. Rebuilding Together does offer, I think it's called Safe at Home now is how they've called it to nationwide. So yeah, you can certainly get through to Rebuilding Together if you want to. It is run differently than this program, but they can provide you details on some of that. And I think it depends on the location, on how it works with who does their assessments and how the modifications get completed. As I said, in Baltimore, there was a program called the Capable Program that was run initially out of Johns Hopkins. It has gone a little bit nationwide, but it kind of depends on the regional locality. So it depends on which group is kind of running it. So Maryland, there's been a little bit through the Capable Program. That could be a place to look. There is also a program through, if anybody's in Howard County, I think Howard County has a little bit going on as well. There has been a grant from HUD, from Housing and Urban Development, to look into home modifications. So there are kind of small programs happening around the area, but this specific program as it's run is just for DC though. And then for Northern Virginia, Rebuilding Together is great. As I said, I would really contact Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance because they're going to be really tuned in to what's available based on each town too, because it kind of probably varies a little bit on the location.
Okay, thank you. Ashley had a question in the chat. I think you were asking, Ashley, about the trainings, the classes. I know Fairfax County has the SAIL program. You can check with Fairfax County. Because I know Ashley lives in Fairfax County, that's why I was suggesting that.
Yeah. So again, if you go through the Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance, they're linked up with Marymount University. And Marymount University has a grant from ACL, from the federal government, to be working on these classes. So they offer Matter of Balance and Stay Active and Independent for Life. It depends on the location if there's a fee or not. The Stay Active and Independent for Life class requires weights, and so there is a fee for that sometimes. It just depends again on it's heavily dependent on the location. Fairfax County does offer the SAIL classes though as well, like you pointed out, Tara. But again, Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance, I think it's NVPA. I'd have to look up the address exactly, but Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance is a great resource for Northern Virginia.
Any questions? If you want to unmute yourself. Anyone? Okay, it's a quiet group. Oh, we have, okay, Ashley.
Hi, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm one of the Northern Virginia people. I have a couple family members that are over 60 years old, so I guess they would qualify for some of these classes that specific to Northern Virginia. So I guess two questions are, what do you mean? What does ACL mean? You said there was a program called that. And secondly, when you said I'm a little confused. You said there was a link between one program and Marymount University. Marymount is actually pretty near us, maybe 20, 30 minutes out. So I guess I just wanted to clarify, what does Marymount do? Are the classes held at their at the college, university, or what do you mean?
Thank you. Great questions. So ACL is the Administration on Community Living. And so they run a lot of the grants that study these different programs and how effective they are. And so Marymount got a grant through them to be able to provide some of these classes and kind of train people in the region on how to do the classes. So the classes are not necessarily at Marymount. They tend to be more at some of the rec centers and more community-based places in the region. But they're a good contact to be able to start a conversation. They have a group called Marymount has a Center for Optimal Aging that you might want to look up. It's called the Marymount Center for Optimal Aging. And again, it's going to be a great place for resources that can connect you then back to some of those community organizations that are running classes like this and other things.
Thank you. Sandy?
Hi, this is Sandy. Great presentation. Quick question. You used the word modifications in your home multiple times, referring to the program in DC. What happens, does home apply to apartments and condos also, or are you talking single family homes?
Yeah, no, great question. Yes, we say home modifications, but we serve folks who have apartments. If somebody is renting their unit or, home, if they're renting their single family home or if they're renting an apartment, we do see them. Anything that's permanent in nature, anything that has to drill into a wall or something that could, is more permanent, requires a landlord approval. So sometimes we do that. Sometimes we try and use all temporary items. If somebody knows that they might not stay where they're going to be at for very long, or they don't want to pursue landlord approval, we do more temporary items. And with condos, co-ops, and homeowners, we work with everybody.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I know this might, it's Ashley. I know this might vary from program to program, but anyway, I was wondering, I guess you can speak for yours when you're talking about home modifications, and I guess my question would be, do you define home as just inside the interior, or would you work on anything connected to the home, like for example, a staircase that might become a fall risk, and you might need a railing to get out of one of your home entrances, or maybe some modification to make the outside of your home or dwelling safer, like maybe like concrete barriers or something like that, or extra painting that they could see. So I'm just wondering what the scope is.
Sure. The short answer is yes, we work on the exterior of homes, no problem. We work on exterior stairs leading up to a house, lighting outside, railings outside, yes. For community spaces, so if somebody lives in an apartment, we cannot install in any shared spaces though. So we can't install railings in a staircase that goes up to multiple apartments or a ramp to the entire apartment building because it's a shared space where we can't do that. For a single family home, we are able to do, as I said, railings, lighting. We have done some high visibility paint at times. It doesn't last super long depending on the location. That's been a limitation of it. Concrete, we get a little bit limited on because concrete is extremely expensive for us to do. So we do what we're able to, and then we try and with the client, try and figure out what the highest priority items are so that we're able to focus the funding that we have on the things that'll make the biggest impact for them. So yes, we do outside modifications there too. Mm-hmm.
Janice and then
Thank
Sandy.
you.
Janice Butler. Oh, okay. Sandy.
So this is Sandy again. I was looking at the activator poles and it looked like that they had sort of a suction cup, rubber, foot on the bottom. Would that be a good description? And if I just Google activator poles, are they for sale?
Yeah, so it's not a suction cup, so it will not suction you to the ground, but it is a very nice wide base though. Yeah. It's about, maybe the size of like a silver dollar or something. It's pretty good solid base on the bottom of it with traction. So it doesn't suction cup to the ground. Okay. What I really like about it is the base of the hand allows you to press through your hand. And so it's really activating your upper body. So it's not a suction cup, but it has a great base. It is available. They actually just started carrying them at CVS as well. But yes, if you Google activator poles, they come out of Canada. I think they're on Amazon now if you use Amazon as well, or you can order directly from the supplier. We raffled 8 of them off for our Falls Prevention Awareness Week event that we just had a few weeks ago too, and we provide them through our program too.
Thank you. The tip being different than the hiking pole, which tends to have a pointy tip, is very nice to be aware of.
Yeah, it's a much more stable surface for walking with versus a hiking pole.
Any other questions? We have only a couple of minutes left. If anybody wants to ask a question. I don't know if maybe some of you have been to our newly renovated office in DC. Some of the things Alexa has mentioned, like the rails in the bathrooms and toilets, we have put them in there. And it's very nice because you have the contrast. So for instance, like we have the black rails with the white wall and the black toilet seat. So those of us who cannot deal well with contrast, it works well. So hopefully you will come and visit us once we're set to open for business. We're open for business, but once we're ready to receive guests, you're all welcome to come and visit us. Janice, I see that you are unmuted. Do you have any questions?
I do. I'm sorry, I'm a
Okay.
little bit late. I just wanted to find out where to obtain the brochure that she spoke about. And also, I think she mentioned there's one in a billfold size or something like that that we could carry around.
Sure. So there's the File of Life is what you're talking about. There's a printable version from Montgomery County, Maryland, that they have a version of it. If you're are you in DC?
No, I'm in a very rural part of Maryland.
Got you. But you can print it offline off the Montgomery County one. They have a free version available. You can order it from File of Life, but I think you have to order them in bulk. So you probably don't want 50 of them, I wouldn't think, but they're not too expensive though either. I think they're less than $1 each or so, but fileoflife.org, I believe, is the website. Let me double check.
Thank you.
A lot of fire departments carry them. So your local fire department might potentially carry them.
Thank you.
And Alexa, sorry. Yeah.
It's thefileoflife.org.
And there's another question about the cost of the poles.
Sure. They tend to be around $100. I think it depends on where you get them from and shipping. If they're in bulk somewhere, they might offer them cheaper, but they're about $100.
Okay. And the website, was it The File of Life?
Thefileoflife.org.
Okay. If no one has any other questions.
I had a question actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, it's Shannon. About the File of Life, I know you mentioned Maryland and DC, and maybe I missed Virginia, where I could get that here. I know I can go online, but is that something you can fill out online and print it out? And is that free if you do so? Or go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I think that if you do it from the Montgomery County one, like anybody can print it out from there. I don't think you can fill it out online though. I think it's just like a printed, PDF, empty PDF. Maybe you can fill it out online. I'm not 100% sure, but it's with Montgomery County. And like anybody from anywhere could print from their website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I thought you had to be a citizen of Maryland. Okay. Thank
I
you.
think they probably would
resident.
prefer that you be a resident of Montgomery County, probably, but it's on their website. So I think you can use it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there's other places that do it that same way, but a lot of fire departments carry them as well.
Okay. Alexa, this was great and very informative and a reminder for all of us to be careful so that we avoid as much as possible to fall or to trip. Thank you again, Alexa, and thank you everyone for joining us. The recording will be soon on YouTube if you want to listen to it again or watch the slides and get the information that you have missed. and hope to see you all next month. Thank you again.
Thank you all. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Alexa.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.